Okay, so first off, welcome everyone to our first ever MSU student panel discussion. Obviously, students have a lot of concerns given that classes are going to look very different this year due to COVID-19, so we've created a series where they can air their concerns to faculty members. This time we are joined with MSU President Giancarlo Da-Re as well as 3 students. So to start, maybe do we want the students to introduce themselves? Just say your name, your year, and your program.
Sure. My name is Nagar. I'm in 3rd year of biology.
I'm Anthony. I'm 4th year in Math and Stats.
My name's Janeska. I'm going into my 4th year of biology and pharmacology.
So to begin then, I guess I just wanted to start by opening up the floor to the students. Are there any concerns or questions you want to bring up right away that you have?
I think the biggest one is we're all wondering why our tuition isn't being lowered and if we're going to get our HSR bus pass. I think that's the main one that the students are wondering.
Absolutely. We can just start with that then, sure. We can, I'll just touch on tuition really quickly and then we can go into HSR because HSR is a fun one. So tuition, so the university has definitely communicated multiple times that they're not reducing student tuition, which I also find incredibly frustrating, given that everything is online. So the MSU has sadly no power in reducing student tuition. I wish that we could. We've mainly been focusing on fee reductions. So this is going to be edited and released later, but we're releasing a big update about our fees and HSR actually today. So you'll learn lots more, and I can speak to it today as well. But about the tuition, the university needs to be communicating better with students because they haven't said where the money is going, and students in any given year, I think, are totally right to question where money is going, especially this year when financial barriers are elevated. So I really wish that the MSU could assist with reducing tuition, but I think that would be a better question for somebody like the Dean of Students, Sean Van Coonet. So I hope that the university is more transparent on where the money is going. But yeah, I look forward to hearing just as much as everybody else does about where the money is going. And then, I can touch on HSR as well. So HSR, lots going on. The reason why it's been so long to get communications out is because we've been negotiating with the university and the city, and sometimes things go to city council, and then we have to wait for the next city council meeting, and it takes a little bit of time. But the good news is that we have suspended the HSR pass fee that students voted on through referendum. We negotiated to suspend that for the fall term, so it'll start in January. So students won't be paying anything for this fall. And then the amount that students will be paying in January for the remainder of the January to August is also being reduced. So we're saving, collectively students are saving literally millions of dollars, which is really great. And then we're also advocating for this fall some kind of reduced or discounted monthly pass for students if you wanted to purchase it through the HSR. So we're not charging anybody for the fall because there's students not just out of the GTA, but out of the province, out of the country. So it would be really hard to justify charging students. But we are working to try and get a discounted rate for the fall term because there are discounted rates for seniors and high school students in Hamilton, but there's nothing for post-secondary students. The adult pass is $110 a month, which is far more than students would pay in any other given year if you were to break down the bus pass fee by month. I think it would be $20. So it's a $90 difference, which is wild. So we sent a delegation to city council, and I believe the next city council meeting is in 2 weeks or so. So we're hoping to hear more later in August, but students will not be charged anything for the bus pass for this fall, which is great.
Did you guys have any other questions you wanted to ask before I go into?
Just about clubs, with Club Fest and all that, especially for smaller clubs, people don't already know about the club, that's where they see it. For example, the club I'm in, Love for Lupus, nobody just goes to MAC going, I want to join that. Club Fest is where we would get people from. So how would that look?
Yeah, so Clubs Fest is going to be fully online, as is almost everything else this year. just naturally because we can't do it in person. But Jenna Courage, who's the clubs administrator this year, she's been working real hard to put everything online. So it'll be through the MSU clubs social media for the month of September, and then each week is dedicated to a different division of clubs, whether it's academic, cultural, religious, recreational, social issues. And then there'll be different posts about descriptions of clubs, photos, how to get involved, contact information, things like that. So it'll pretty much just be the entire duration of September. So I'm sure all of that will be communicated, I believe, later in August when clubs training is going to be, either later in August or like late August, early September, when I don't know the exact dates of clubs training, but Jenna's been working real hard on that, which is awesome. And then we also have our new assistant clubs administrator part-time role, which we're hiring right now. So there will be a lot more support for clubs as we move into September. And the Clubs Advisory Council is getting set up as well. So the summer's kind of been this weird transitionary period where we made a lot of changes to clubs in the spring. And then now we're just kind of like working through all of those, and all of the clubs finance is also going internally through the accounting department for the MSU. So that's all happening right now. And then everything should be good for training in September. But we definitely recognize that, like clubs, just like everyone else as well, especially since we have 323 clubs. I think collectively it's like over 6,000 students interact with our clubs. It's by far like the largest. We're putting a really big focus on clubs for this September, so that should really help.
Kind of just going off of clubs, I know fundraising will obviously be difficult for clubs this year given that it's online. Is there any sort of plan the MSU has to assist with that, or are you, I know students apply for the budgets through MSU, is that going to be affected at all this year?
I need to find the actual operating policies. I know that there were changes that speak to fundraising and things like that, and these are conversations that I know that the clubs department has been having. I don't know the exact details and specifics, but I will find that, and maybe we can just link it in the video when it's posted or something like that. Awesome.
So I guess another concern that a lot of students are having, and I guess you guys can touch on this as well, is with facility services. So I know the athletic department is starting to open up, and then obviously not athletics, but the gym and that kind of thing. Is there any way, or do you know if any of the library services or that kind of thing will begin to open up so students can have access?
Yeah, great question. So I'm in these meetings every Thursday morning at 8 a.m., these like return to campus meetings where we have everybody from different parts of campus talking about how we can all open things up together. And so it's been really helpful because they talk about everything from research to like what's going on with the Phoenix to like everything on campus. And so libraries have been something that I've been talking about a lot, and there's been conversations, and it's come to that meeting a few times that, students are gonna need somewhere to study. There are gonna be people on campus. What are they gonna do? So I'll start by saying that the university is very hesitant to promote and encourage not just students, but community members to come to campus. They know there's gonna be more people in the fall. There are going to be some in-person courses, and there are community members that just walk their dog through campus. So the university is very hesitant to heavily promote things in person, just for that reason, especially since there's been talk from public health experts about a potential second wave in the fall. So there are some things that are reopening, and there are definitely buildings that are going to be open. And McMaster's already said that they're complying with the bylaw about everyone has to wear a mask if you're inside a public area. But there are definitely going to be restrictions. So I don't know a whole lot about what's going on with athletic services. I know that OUA has said that they're canceling the OUA season for this fall. I haven't heard anything about the Pulse, and I haven't heard much about the gyms. So the university, I'm assuming, is going to be communicating that with students pretty soon, because there are already students in Hamilton that have been asking these questions as well. With regards to libraries, something that I've been bringing up with them a lot is that even if they open libraries, their students are going to find a windowsill and study in a windowsill. If they can, they're going to sit on the floor. One of my bigger concerns is as well, like for labs that are in person. For anyone that has ever done a lab, it's very common for people to just show up 10 minutes early and sit on the floor. Like, what's going to happen in those situations? So these are questions that I've been asking the university in all these meetings, where they're like, oh, these are the courses that are going to be done in person, or, oh, students are going to want to do this. And I think the university underestimates students sometimes, where students will find anywhere to study. So even if they were to open the library, which they haven't said that they're going to do that, and I would be doubtful, to be honest, considering that would be really large. It would be a large operation. They would have to do contact tracing. So there's just like a lot of those little things that need to be taken into consideration. I'm not saying they won't for sure, and I don't know when they're going to do it, but I know that for now I haven't heard any plans to do that. But I have communicated with them that whatever the university thinks students are going to use, students are just going to find somewhere else anyway. So they just need to prepare for that. They just need to accept that it's going to happen, and they need to make sure that students are able to congregate in whichever ways are going to happen in the most safe way. That's going to be safe for students and safe for community members, because otherwise I think that they're going to be playing catch up, which is just not going to be safe for anybody.
Yeah, you brought up labs, just looking at the students.
Yeah.
Have you guys been addressed at all at how in-person labs are going to work at all? Or do you have in-person labs?
I don't.
I would normally, but I think for like, at least for like our biochem courses, they've said that like they're just only going to run the absolute necessary labs, and if they have to, they'll run some like online. But in like a standpoint of like in the future, like a lot of like jobs, and when you apply to places, they look at your lab experience, so that really like kills it because you don't have the experience now, and it's like kind of a letdown, I guess.
You bring up a really good point. I was in chem bio, so very familiar with the lab experience. And this is something that I was asking Kim Dye about, who's the vice provost faculty, who such as like in charge of all the deans, and she taught me biology in first year as well. So she's very familiar with the lab scene and everything. And I was saying that too, because a lot of these, so they've definitely pushed, they've drastically reduced, as you're all aware, the number of courses that are in person, including all of those lab courses. And a lot of courses that would usually have these in-person lab courses, they've just been pushed to happen in the winter, because there's this assumption that that they might be able to do it in the winter, and nobody knows what's going to happen in the winter. The university has not communicated what's going to happen. So if the winter term is also similar to the fall term, where it's all online, I have huge concerns as well. What are they going to do with all of these courses that they're kind of banking on doing in the winter? Because there's questions about prerequisites that you need for upper year courses. There's questions about just general skills that you need that come with certain courses. There's questions about if you're applying for, med school or like a grad school program that requires this kind of in-person lab experience. What's happening to thesis students? So these are all questions that I've been asking them too. And I think the university is realizing that, they made these decisions originally, but time is moving real fast, and they're going to have to make a decision about the winter really soon. So I'm pushing for them to make a decision sooner than later. I haven't heard anything yet, to be honest, but I have a lot of questions similar to all of you. So yeah, really curious what's going to happen, especially with the labs, because one, they're still finalizing a lot of these course plans, even the ones that are in person and in labs. So they need to finalize these things, and then they need to communicate the changes to like TAs, and then they need to communicate with TAs how they're going to be safe in the lab. So there are still so many questions that I have that I've been asking in all of my meetings with them, because it seems like a lot is still being figured out. But there's truly only a month left. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think the university is really feeling the pressure of time. So it will be very interesting. But I totally see where you're coming from that very like hard science program background. So yeah, I'm asking the same questions that you were wondering.
Okay, so I think my last kind of topic is, I know that I've seen on different forums, students are either having a great experience enrolling in classes, or they can't get into anything. So I was wondering if you guys wanted to speak on what your experience was like a bit.
Personally, for me, I had no problem in enrolling in my classes, but I have a couple of friends who, like, when they try to enroll, all their classes were closed and they couldn't get any of their required classes. So they're thinking maybe they have to stay back a year or check every day.
Yeah, so I don't think that that necessarily falls under the MSU, but do you know at all if the university has a plan for that or what they're looking at?
So yeah, I've been getting a lot of emails about this over the last couple of weeks as well. And it's everything from why is there a wait list for some courses and not for others, to I was told that I could register at midnight and at 12:01 the course is full. What's the deal with that? It's ridiculous. And then just taking the screenshots and asking like, what is going on here? And I believe there was also a Silhouette article on the waitlist concern last year. So this has been something that students have been asking for a few years now. And I can't speak to the university's decisions about course, about the amount of students that are in a given course, because I think that, and I've been following all the online forums as well. So I've been seeing there's a lot of confusion and frustration from students about, oh, well, it's online. How come we can't fit 10 more people in my Zoom call? You know, like that's like the immediate thing. And I can't speak to the university's decisions. I know that they've spoken a little bit in some of our meetings about the student to TA ratios, but I've also been told that they were hiring more TAs for some courses. So I'm not really sure, but I'm also looking forward to the university speaking more about that publicly. But about the waitlist option, I have a lot of questions about that too. And I'm bringing that up with the university administration because this is clear, like there have been articles for years on this. So I am curious what's been done. In the past, I wasn't aware of it last year, but I became more aware of it probably 3.5 weeks ago or so when students were starting to do enrollment, and I was starting to get some of these emails. So I have been asking the university administration, but yeah, these are definitely questions that I have for the registrar's office. I don't understand why or what the barrier would be to have wait lists for some courses if they already have them for other courses, just so that students don't have to keep checking all summer. And I know the university in the past has said, oh, well, you know, everyone will get into their program eventually. But that is, in my opinion, a terrible answer, because students are so stressed about everything in any given year, not even just during the pandemic. Students are stressed just about everything. So especially during the pandemic, and especially when they have no idea what's going on for the winter terms, the students that are coming back to Hamilton are like, well, I guess I'll sublet for 4 months because I don't think I can sublet for 8 months yet because the university hasn't made a decision. So I think the university really needs to start making decisions that are keeping the students' wellness in mind, especially over the summer. Course enrollment has historically been a very stressful time for a number of different reasons. And to be honest, they haven't communicated with me solutions for any of these problems. So I also have a lot of these questions. So I've been asking the university, and I hope that they're able to kind of be a bit more transparent with students soon.
We would like to give a big thanks to everyone who participated in our first MAC discussions. If you are interested in participating in our next video, or you have a question you would like answered, you can contact us through any of our social medias at 93.3 CFMU.